That's a 20-footer.
25. 3 tons on them.
What's up, guys? I hope you're all having an awesome day out there. I want to thank you as always for stopping by the channel. I have another throwback movie review for you today. It's the one that you guys voted for in the polls. This time we're taking it back to 1975 to talk about the movie that created the term summer blockbuster, that being Steven Spielberg's classic Jaws. So let's knock this intro out so we can get into talking about this all-time great movie. Now, we all know the storyline in this one, but just in case you don't, I'm not going to leave you out, so let's briefly cover it. It's a small resort town on the eve of their busiest season, which is inflicted with violent chaos as a massive great white shark begins claiming victims. The local sheriff is new in town. He's going to have no choice but to overcome his fear of water to team up with a young oceanographer and a weathered fisherman to hunt this beast down before it kills again. I personally consider this to be the best shark movie ever made. I think I probably always will. I think despite the advances in technology with CGI sharks giving us wildly violent underwater action set pieces, that this mechanical shark inside of a film that built suspense through the mystery, then just capped it off with great practical violence, is the pinnacle of shark movies. I mean, growing up in Washington State, most of my water activities growing up were in rivers and lakes, and then when I moved to California, I took up surfing very quickly, and to this day, I think of Jaws every time I get in the water. I try not to think of Jaws while surfing, but undoubtedly the theme from John Williams makes its way into my mind. Images of the film just kind of flash through as well, and it's a testament to this film's quality. I absolutely think Spielberg's direction was phenomenal. I think the opening scene itself is masterfully crafted. The lighting is cold and grim, but also warm and inviting at the same time to really immerse the viewer immediately. Tension is built up instantly to really engage you as the viewer, and the characters are introduced from there. This is where Roy Scheider really just, in my opinion, comes in with a subtly commanding performance as Brody. He's an out-of-town guy, moved to this small city, and while still having to deal with all the adjustments of small-town community life, he has to deal with this shark starting to eat people. I mean, these are issues that could break a person's mental stability, but Scheider as Brody is rock solid, and it really connected with me. Every time I watch this movie, I can gravitate to the character of Brody as he calmly does his best. Trying to close the beach in a small coastal town during peak season is not an easy thing to do, and Scheider really captures the frustrations with an authenticity that just makes him naturally likable. He's a strong-willed man, but he also has an emotional side. He leans on his wife, capturing her as the rock of the relationship, and that alone is a dynamic that I think was really elevated with a great performance from Lorraine Gary. I think the chemistry between Scheider and Gary was down to earth and very genuine, primarily because of their timing and the sincerity of their performances, which effectively just kind of humanized them, making them easily relatable and still easily able to connect with many decades later.
Oh. Want to get drunk and fool around?
Oh, yeah.
This movie does so many things to excellent levels to all come together, but I think one of the undermentioned elements is just the overall skillfully crafted elevation of suspense. Building foreboding tension is what makes this simple story on paper just come to life on screen. We get just flashes of a menacing shark fin, brilliant use of a masterful score from John Williams. Violence is delivered without the need of a fully visible shark, which just, in my opinion, just increases the anticipation with each passing minute. And without even seeing a shark, these scenes are still absolutely intense, and it's because of just creative filmmaking and camera work from Spielberg that really just constantly hugs the waterline to really pull the viewer into the scenes with a lot of uneasiness. Anger and frustration in the main character mounts, the deaths get increasingly violent, and a young boy is eaten. Brody is confronted by a grieving mother, and that's when the shit hits the fan. That's when we meet Richard Dreyfuss as the oceanographer named Hooper. We meet Robert Shaw as Quint, this weathered drunk of a fishing boat captain, then together this trio was going to take to the seas and work together to hunt this massive shark to try to stop it from killing. And this to me is when the film really does take a turn. It ramps up the intensity as it never leaves the three of these guys on the boat for the remainder of the runtime, and other than a handful of beautifully shot transitions, it almost really plays out in real time for the remainder of the 50 minutes of the movie, and it's just amazing to watch no matter how many times you've seen it. It all comes down to Scheider, Shaw, Dreyfuss, the ocean, a small boat, Spielberg's direction, and Jaws to carry the remainder of the film, and it does not disappoint. And I would have to say, like Scheider's performance, both Dreyfuss and Shaw were perfect for their roles. I think Dreyfuss was very energetic and just full of a lot of charisma and an everyman sense of humor, and Shaw, despite some well-noted behind-the-camera issues, was very capable as the grizzled boat captain, a man that has a very troubled past filled with bad memories who soaks them in alcohol. He was very intense, and he really commanded the screen when needed, and he delivers, in my opinion, one of the all-time great monologues that was just brewing with both rage and torment.
You know the thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes. Black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living until he bites you. And those black eyes roll over white, and then... oh, then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize this is an unlikely alliance, and I thought the clash of varying personalities was nicely captured later in the film. This is a very stressful situation. They're all up against something none had ever been up against, and their stress was able to connect with me. I could feel it, and it made it more intense while watching because it didn't try to do too much. It was kind of realistic. The use of the barrels and baiting the sharks was a very dangerous game of cat and mouse with solid unpredictability for those who have never seen the movie before, and still well-crafted cinematic enjoyment for those who have. And then Spielberg's mechanical shark makes its appearance with the proper build-up to it, and it's just is absolutely rewarding. It's nostalgic, it's terrifying, and definitely climactic. By keeping the movie out on the water for the entire back half, I think the viewer really can connect to the fatigue of the characters. I think it also is able to connect the viewer to just the overall growing tension between the men and, honestly, the dwindling supply of options for trying to kill this massive shark. I think this makes the final act the true showdown it's intended to be. It also results in one of the classic film moments as Scheider comes eye to mouth with Jaws on a sinking boat. It's man versus shark, one-on-one, and it never fails to entertain me. The men use basically everything they can think of to throw at the shark, and nothing seems to work, and then the shark makes his attack. The boat is all but sunk. The fight for survival was increased to almost unthinkable levels, and it's just cinematic gold. So I have to give Jaws 100% on the entertainment meter. This movie created the craze for summer movies. It's the first blockbuster film. It's still a movie that many people think of when going out into the ocean, and I think even 40 years from now, this movie's still going to hold up as a great one with its practical effects. I mean, Spielberg may have had a ton of mechanical issues with his robotic sharks, but I mean, the effort from him and his team created something that I think is always going to be going down as a cinematic classic. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. I would love to hear from you all. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. The link to my official website, all my social media and merchandise store links are going to be down in the description below. And in the event, me talking to you guys about movies every couple days is not enough Anthony in your life, I now have a second YouTube channel with a growing collection of non-movie related content for you guys to check out, and I'll see you guys next time.